Hallo und willkommen, ich bin Meister Lindsay and you're watching Get Germanized, Renting in Germany.
I am bored, what should I do?
Ich weiß.
Get Germanized.
So you want to move to Germany or you want to find a flat in Germany when you're already here. Well, then you probably know already that it is a bit different from renting in other countries. And today we're going to talk about what these differences are, what you need to know to be prepared to rent in Germany, to find a flat, a suitable flat, that is, and of course how not to be scammed by dodgy landlords. For example, knowing the terminology in Germany is really important. We will talk about that more later, about all the abbreviations that are in existence, that do exist here in Germany. When you want to, for example, find a flat on an online website, then there are different abbreviations that can be very confusing in English already, and even more so in German. So for example, if you search for a 4-room apartment, 4-room means dining room, living room, and 2 bedrooms. So kitchen and bathroom and halls are not included in those calculations for whatever reason. If it says unfurnished, then it is completely empty most of the time. Like, you might be lucky to get a kitchen, but even that is not guaranteed here in Germany. Sometimes you might need to either bring your own kitchen or to buy one and place it into your new empty flat. Also other things like shelves, sofas, chairs, tables, anything really you need to bring. I mean, mostly, or sometimes at least, don't get me wrong, it happens that that is not there as well, but most of the time the bathroom is at least done. So with a shower or bathtub and a sink and all that kind of stuff. Before you move in anywhere and sign anything, any contracts, you should probably let a lawyer take a look at that first, because if you're not from Germany and if your German is not 100% perfect, then you might have difficulties with understanding all the code. I mean, even Germans have difficulties with that. So just to be safe, get a law expert and let him have a look at that. For example, is there an annual increase of rent somewhere in the text? Or are things that are beneficial to you in the text or not? For example, dealing with notice periods or what to do in case there is a need for renovations and all that kind of stuff. Most of these things are covered by law, so don't worry, but it is still good to have them in the contract. Because hiring a lawyer and suing your landlord, all of that will be very expensive and nerve-wracking, and you really don't want that. And keep in mind that a rent agreement usually can't be terminated early on, except when there are extraordinary circumstances. But for example, a work transfer would not count as an extraordinary circumstance, so you need to be careful with that as well. In Germany we differentiate between Kaltmiete, cold rent, and Warmmiete, warm rent. The cold rent, die Kaltmiete, is just the basic rent costs, while the Warmmiete, the warm rent, includes all the utilities, die Nebenkosten, also abbreviated by NK sometimes, Nebenkosten. Side costs. Sometimes Germans also call these side costs Wohngeld, living money. So the monthly rent consists out of 2 parts basically. The basic rent cost that cannot be changed, that is fixed, and the Nebenkosten, the side costs, that can be changed eventually. For example, the Nebenkosten could include stairwell cleaning costs or the landlord's property taxes, or at least a share in that, and costs for heating, trash collection, or water. And if any of these costs rise, of course, then you will have to pay more in the end, because the Nebenkosten, the side costs, go up as well, because the landlord won't be paying that for you. Electricity and gas are usually paid separately, but can be included. They might be included in the Nebenkosten, the side costs. Also, at the end of the year, the landlord will send you a bill stating if you have spent more than you already paid for the side costs or not. If you spend more, for example, water costs or gas costs or whatever is included in the Nebenkosten, then you have to make a payment. For example, if the Nebenkosten that you have already paid are 1,000 euros, and the real amount that everything has really cost is 1,200, then you would have to pay an additional 200 euros at the end of the year. Let's talk about the deposit that you have to make when you move in. The Kaution. The Kaution is there so that if anything happens to the flat when you move out, or if anything has happened to the flat, that the landlord can say, hey, wait, you destroyed that wall, I have to get someone to fix it, so you will not get back all of your deposit. Or if you have done anything else to the flat that needs repairing. Therefore, it is good to make photos and to take an inventory when you move into a flat, so that you can say, hey, wait, I didn't do that, that was there before. The rent deposit usually goes into a separate bank account that needs the signatures of you and the landlord. Because the law in Germany requires the landlord to keep the deposit separate from his own funds, so that he doesn't accidentally spend it. Any interest that adds to that money while it's in the account goes to the owner of the money, which would be you. So you'll get the deposit plus interest back if you move out. Sometimes the account is in the name of the tenant, but the landlord keeps the Sparbuch, the little savings book, with which you can access the account until you move out, just to be safe. Often places already have set up internet or telephones. If your place doesn't have it, I don't recommend setting it up yourself, because that can be very expensive. So make sure to find a place that already has it, or ask them if they could set it up for you. Maybe you can pay like 100 to 200 euros in exchange for them to do that. Or you could pay extra every month. And if everything else fails, you can still get a surf stick, how we call it in Germany, a USB internet access stick. They are not even that expensive anymore. Let's talk about some other things that you should keep in mind when renting in Germany. Very important, I have to say it again, the inventory, the photos that you should take when you first move in. Just to be safe. When you have a car, a bike, or baby carriages, only leave those in designated areas that the landlord has told you about. Same goes for cleaning anything like dirty rugs or anything like that. Better ask your landlord before you do it. Pets. Of course, many people want pets, but not every place allows pets. It's the same in America, I guess. Or anywhere really. So make sure that your place allows pets before you move in, or get the landlord's written is important, permission to keep pets later on. If there are more families in that building than just yours, make sure to close the door, because obviously people might break in, but that is just common sense, isn't it? Also, make sure to close all the doors and lock them when you leave the flat, also every window. And if you don't do that, the insurance company, in case someone breaks in, might not pay, and that is really, really annoying, isn't it? Only install any satellite dishes or antennas in accordance with the local law, and of course ask your landlord about it. If he doesn't want you to install any antennas on his roof or on the roof of the building, then you probably can't do it. If the electricity, gas or water lines are damaged, you will have to tell the landlord right away, because it is important to do that in case something gets damaged. The landlord might make you pay for the damages if you haven't told him early on. Make sure to know about who's responsible for cleaning the stairwells, because it might be you. That usually is settled in the rental agreement, I think. If you have a balcony, you might be tempted to have an open fire, like a nice little cozy campfire, or an open barbecue with fire and coal and flames, but you shouldn't do that. No. I suggest using an electronic barbecue. I know it's not the same, doesn't taste the same, it's not as smoky, but it's more safe. And it's probably less of a disturbance to other people as well that live above you or below you or wherever really. Speaking of people living below or above you, if you have a balcony and you wanna pour water onto your flowers, if you wanna water them, make sure there's nothing or no one below you, because that might annoy them quite a bit, I would think. So now that you know what you have to keep in mind when renting in Germany, how do you even find a flat here? Well, there's several ways. For example, you could hire an Immobilienmakler. That's a real estate agent. That is the most expensive option though, because obviously they take money from you, and not really that little money either. It could be as much as 2-month basic rents plus sales tax. Keep in mind that this fee is different from the deposit that you have to pay for the landlord. That is extra. And speaking of the deposit might be as much as 2 to 3 monthly basic rents. not including the first monthly rent that you will have to pay when you move in. Another valid option of finding a flat in Germany is of course the local newspaper. But that option might not be for everyone, because if there's a good flat, it might be snatched by people already before you actually get your call through to the landlord. Also, you will most likely have to talk to the people in German. Is your German good enough yet or not? Well, that's up for you to decide. A third option is to ask friends or colleagues if they know anyone that rents a flat or that wants to sell a flat or whatever is up your alley, really. Last but not least, something I always do when I look for renting flats is to look at a real estate website. There you can filter by price, by location, by size, how many rooms are there. You can even select EBK, which stands for Einbauküche, which is the kitchen. So if you check that little box, you should only find flats with inbuilt kitchens, which is good for most of us, I think, because who wants to carry their kitchen all the way to the new flat? I mean, seriously. Let's now talk about some abbreviations that you might come across. 2ZIWHG, that stands for Zwei-Zimmer-Wohnung. A two-room apartment. For example, one living room and one bedroom. And if you remember what I said earlier on, yes, there is a bathroom and a kitchen as well. Möbliert. Möbliert, that means furnished. EBK, Einbauküche. Just saying that again because I want to tell you about something else regarding the kitchen. If there's a kitchen, sometimes you will have to pay a Ablösesumme, like an amount that you have to pay for taking over the kitchen into like your flat, for having it. Because someone else paid for it already. Maybe the tenants before you. They decided that they don't want to take it, so they make you pay like 600 euros or something like that, so that you can keep it. VHB, verhandelbar, negotiable. Well, that means that terms are negotiable. Whatever terms those are. Parkett. Parkett means parquet flooring or hardwood floors. Laminat means laminated floors. A bathroom, a bad with F dot, could stand for with Fenster, with window. Die Tiefgarage refers to underground parking. That usually comes at an extra fee per month. 2 OG M Lift means zweites Obergeschoss mit Lift on the second level with elevator. Miete means rent. Spül M means Spülmaschine, dishwasher. Warmer, die Waschmaschine, the washing machine. Provisionsfrei means that there are no agency fees involved. Plus PROV means plus agency fees. Der Nachmieter is the follow-up tenant. Often the current tenant is looking for someone, a Nachmieter, to move into the flat earlier before his renting period actually ends, because he is transferred for work or something else came up. Ab 1. Mai refers to open or available from the 1st of May. That could obviously be any date. While ab SOF dot refers to ab sofort frei, free now. WG geeignet refers to a flat that is suitable for flat share. PLZ and then a number refers to the Postleitzahl, the postcode of the area the flat is in. ZH refers to Zentralheizung, the central heating. And last but not least, if you're a student, there might be a really cheap option for you to live. For example, next to universities, they often have dormitories, Wohnheime, which cost about like 180 to 200 euros a month for a decent sized room, sometimes in a flat share with someone else, and they usually are fully furbished. At least like they have a kitchen and all that kind of stuff. Not really sure about your own room, might be empty, might not be empty, but they include like internet and telephone costs and all that kind of stuff, so that you get them relatively cheaply in comparison to normal flats, but you have to apply for them, and the application process might take a while. For example, you might have to wait for like 2 semesters or so before you actually get to move in there. So make sure to keep an eye out for that early on. Also, if you're a student, you might be lucky, because many landlords only want students to live in their flats because they think students pay regularly. For example, if they get supported by their families or by the government, because in Germany you might get government support when you go to uni. Depending on how much your parents earn. If they earn too little, then you get government money. If they earn too much, you don't. And then if you're lucky, your parents support you. If not, well, that sucks for you. But yeah, like I said, mostly they are really like happy when students move in. But of course that differs from person to person as well. So guys, that was quite the video, quite the information. I hope you understood everything. If you liked everything, if you enjoyed the video, then please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos about the German language and culture. And if you have any feedback or criticism at all, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, and if you really love the channel, then you can support it on patreon.com/getgermanized. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.